Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 49ers Morning After Show. Mondays with Vish will be in a few hours. Kyle Shanahan will have a press conference in a few hours. But first, sorry I'm late. I just received this jacket in the mail, this Pierre Laurent jacket that's really nice. And I wanted to show you what it's all about. Check it out. See that? See that? How about that? How about that? It's good to know. It's good to know that quality control is still valued around here. So this is my new quality control jacket. I'm very grateful for it. Thank you for whoever sent it to me. I'm sure it was Kyle Shanahan himself. It was really nice. Breathes well. It's tailored. This is what it's like working for the 49ers. They don't pay you per se, but you get really nice jackets in the mail and you just assume it's from them. So thank you, whoever it came from. All right, let's talk about what's on my mind the morning after. Usually I'm revved up and maybe I miss some details after a game. Today I want to say what's on my mind, and then we'll talk to Vish and see what's on his mind because he's much smarter than me. But let's talk about the defense first. There's so much to be encouraged by with the defense. First of all, it did a terrible job week one against the Lions running backs. This week, they did a very good job against Miles Sanders. They did an even better job against that other guy, Kenneth Gainwell. They needed to shut down the running backs. They shut down the running backs mostly. That was very good. That showed an adjustment. And it showed, like, on that goal line stand, you saw all the big players make plays. Fred Warner on first down, 3-yard tackle for loss. Jimmy Ward ran Jalen Hurts out of bounds. When they had the opportunity, they showed that they had a lot of superstars in this defense. What else did they do really well? I mean, they really forced Jalen Hurts to throw a bunch of really short passes. I mean, he averaged almost nothing other than that long throw to Kes Watkins. I'm going to get to that in a minute. So they did a really good job keeping things in front of them, basically, in the passing game, not getting burned and shutting down the run. What they didn't do particularly great with was stopping the quarterback's running game. Jalen Hurts ran 10 times, average 8 yards a carry. And they really never had an answer for when he kept the ball in his own read or when he scrambled. And didn't hurt him because the Eagles didn't figure out that that's their best play. But other teams are going to go to that. We've seen the Niners struggle with that. Arizona, Seattle, they're going to have their quarterback run more. What's funny to me is, like, running a quarterback in the NFL is a lot like 3-point shots were 10 years ago in the NFL. Like, there's some arbitrary limit to how much you can run your quarterback. Jalen Hurts is averaging 8 yards a carry. Maybe you should run him 20 times. You might win. But no, you got to stop at 10 and lose. Doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, the Ravens ran Lamar Jackson 16 times last night, won. I don't know. Seems like you probably should do your best thing. So anyway, the Niners got let off the hook there. And the other thing I want to talk about is Diamadore Lenore. He's having a very good rookie season. He started 2 games. In this game, he was starting opposite Josh Norman. I thought the Eagles would go after Norman. He's older. He's slower. He wasn't in training camp. They went after him twice on short throws, and he got called for pass interferences both times. I was surprised they didn't go after him a third time, maybe get a third pass interference, but they respected him. They showed Josh Norman respect. They really didn't show Diamadore Lenore respect. They went, basically, the Eagles' offense was hand the ball off up the middle, quick throw for 5 yards, the occasional quarterback run, and a deep shot at Diamadore Lenore. And they took a lot of deep shots at Diamadore Lenore. Now, Lenore did a great job on covering Devontae Smith, who was the first-round pick, Heisman Trophy winner last year. Really, really matched up well. Lenore's a good player. Where he struggled was covering Jalen Reagor and Kes Watkins on the go routes up the sideline. That's Diamadore Lenore's weakness, is, I think, the speed and stopping the go route. I think it was interesting. Whatever they saw on film, they wanted to take big shots at him frequently. They thought he was going to give up the big play. And frankly, he did. He gave up the 91-yard touchdown, the 91-yard catch that was not a touchdown because Jaquiski Tartt ran down Kes Watkins from across the field and tackled him at the 6. One of the more remarkable tackles I've seen in a long time. That big play right there could have lost the game. And while we're very positive about Lenore, that was a big mess up. And if he's going to be liable to give up catches like that, he won't stay in the starting lineup very long. Tart saved him. And you know, the defense got set up. They had the goal line stand. It was remarkable. But so they all saved Diamadore Lenore. But that was a 7-point mistake, really. Should have been. The other one, it wasn't just a one-off. Earlier in the game, he gave up a long touchdown catch to Jalen Rieger. Now, the coverage on this was better. Lenore squeezed Rieger to the sideline, didn't give Rieger very much room to catch the ball and run, and Rieger's foot, 2 feet, really did touch, upon review, the sideline, and it was correctly called back. But that was it was inches. He gave up another long catch and did cover it well, but the guy still caught the ball, and it was, you know, a difference of a couple of centimeters between another long touchdown and an incomplete pass. So he gave up the 91-yard. It could have been a 97-yard touchdown. It was a 91-yard catch thanks to Tart. Really could have been another, like a 30-yard touchdown that got called back because the guy's cleat grazed the sideline, 2 of them. So I think it's interesting looking at Lenore going forward. Our team's going to go at him. What I saw, I was never super impressed with Lenore in training camp. I was always very surprised that everyone else was saying he was great. I know he's played well so far, but when I watched him in the one-on-ones, which I guess I put too much emphasis on, but when I watched him in the one-on-ones, he would get beat deep a lot. Whether he was going against Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Trent Sherfield, he would get beat deep a lot. Why? He's very aggressive at the line of scrimmage. He plays like he's Jason Verrett. Gets right up in your face. Very confident. A lot of cornerbacks won't do that. You're going up against a good wide receiver. I'm going to play back. I don't I don't want to give up the big play. I'll let you have a 10-yard catch on me. That's okay. Lenore's not like that. He's very feisty. He's very aggressive. He's very confident. But he's not very fast. He's not slow. He runs a 4.45, which is right, you know, I would say average for a starting cornerback in the NFL. Maybe a little below average for one who's 5'10". Usually the 5'10 corners are really fast. But okay, he's solid. But he would get burned daily in one-on-ones deep. Trent Sherfield, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. Meanwhile, Brandon Ayuk is in the doghouse. They don't like Brandon Ayuk right now. They don't trust Brandon Ayuk right now. They like Trent Sherfield, but they don't give him very many passes. Lenore is starting. But to me, he's not as good as Brandon Ayuk, who the Niners don't trust. So Lenore is starting almost by default. It's going to be interesting what happens when he goes up against better wide receivers than what he's faced so far. I mean, he didn't get tested week 1. The Lions didn't have any wide receivers to test him. This week, he did a great job against Devontae Smith. Great job. I think what we're going to see is Lenore against speed. How's he going to do? So he should do okay against Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is big, but he's not going to run away from Diamadore Lenore. Lenore should be right there in his pocket. But when he goes against Tyler Lockett, Rondale Moore, it's going to be interesting to see how he does with that. So I think we come away from this game thinking, man, he really saved it, pushing Jalen Rieger out of bounds on that touchdown. He almost gave it away, too, on that 91-yard touchdown. That was his fault. You got to watch this. It seems to me that the NFL has seen something, and they think he's vulnerable deep. Because it was like they took a lot of deep shots in that game, the Eagles. I didn't like the way they called their offense at all. It was a bunch of tiny little throws to the outside and deep shots and some runs. It was like 3 things they did. Anyway, they really, really went when they took deep shots. It was at Lenore. Something to watch for moving forward. I don't know what they see from him, but he's just not that fast. Good player. Has a weakness. Not super tall, not super fast. Gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. 2 for the money says, I would like to add Alex Mack to the MVP list. Can we say Jimmy the Sneak? Jimmy the Sneak. All right, we're going to talk about Jimmy right now. David Sir says, you sure Kyle is an offensive genius? Just when you thought the offense would need to carry the defense did all the work, just like 2019. Yeah, I agree with that. Where was the creativity from Kyle yesterday? I think he kind of mailed it in. There was no creativity from Kyle. All right, Jimmy Garoppolo. What I want to say about Jimmy Garoppolo is that he's playing really well, and I want to praise him. He's doing a good job. He's not a new player, but he's playing to the best of his abilities, and that's commendable. He hasn't thrown a pick yet. He's not wearing the knee brace, which means he's finally, to me, playing football again. He's finally all in, 100%. not, I mean, he doesn't look like he's protecting himself anymore on the field. He scrambled 3 or 4 times. The quarterback sneaks, put your body at risk. He at least looks like he's willing to get hit. So that's good. Now, early in the game, I think he looked a little freaked out by the pass rush and was missing some open receivers. He had some guys that were open at the sideline about 10 to 15 yards down the field that he just missed. But he's not really good at that throws anyway. I mean, we've been saying this for years. He's limited, but within his limitations through the first 2 weeks, he's been as good as you could ask. And I think that's praiseworthy. Now, we know that his limitations are that he's basically not going to throw more than 10 yards downfield, especially if it's to the outside. If it's to the outside, he may not throw more than 5 yards downfield. But he will throw the ball between 15 and 20 yards downfield over the middle. Those are his limitations, and he's pretty good with it. I mean, Mac Jones over in New England kind of has the same limitations, and everyone likes him. So, I mean, obviously the Niners can win with a quarterback with these limitations, especially if he's running around and moving and giving them a little bit more and not turning the ball over. That's the biggest key here. I don't know what Kyle Shanahan would do if Jimmy started throwing the ball to the other team like he did in training camp. There might be some pressure to bring in Trey Lance at that point, but so far Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't given Kyle Shanahan the opportunity to go to Lance or to make the switch. He's been efficient. He's been good. He hasn't been a huge playmaker. He's not scoring a ton, but he's clutch. He'll lead a long, 15-play drive right when the defense could use it. I think he deserves praise. Now, the other thing I want to say is I don't want to go overboard with the praise for Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think he's not Rudy, okay? He's made about $100 million in his career. He's got a lot going for him. And we don't have to praise him for like throwing for 186 yards, 189 yards. It's nice. It's nice to see him play his best, but he's not the future of this team. He's not the franchise quarterback. And frankly, the offense is really, really methodical with him on the field. I mean, in this game, he completed 8 passes behind the line of scrimmage. 8. And then when he threw more than 10 yards downfield, he was 3 for 7 with 2 drop picks. So I just feel like he's just making this too hard. It doesn't have to be this hard. He saw a really good pass rush, and the 49ers basically put their offense in the garage for the whole day. They're like, you know what? Let's just throw a bunch of screens and not get Jimmy Garoppolo hurt and get off the field and score 17 points and let the defense win the game. And what we're seeing is the Niners can't put teams away. They got out to a really big lead against the Lions. They scored 31 points in the first half. They couldn't put them away. 31 points in the first half. They come out, score 10, almost give that game away. It's a game until the very end. The Niners have to fight tooth and nail to the very end against the Lions when they had 31 points at halftime because they only scored 10 in the second half. Then against the Eagles, they scored 17 points the whole game, have to fight till the very end against a team that scored 11 points. That game should have been over early. But the Niners were worse than the Eagles in the first half until the very end. So it's commendable that Jimmy Garoppolo is playing his best, but his best isn't good enough. That's why they drafted Trey Lance. So I just want to, I think people are bending over backwards too much to praise him. There's an emotional attachment to him. He came here, he won. He's a handsome guy who smiles. He never complains. He lost his job to injury. I think a lot of people feel it's not fair. There's a fairness aspect here. Hey, man, they're running him out of town. All he ever did was smile and be a good teammate and not complain and get thrown under the bus and get injured, and now you're replacing him. It's not fair. And the fair thing this year is to give him one more year, even though he won't be the quarterback next year. But this is Jimmy's year, and he's earned it. And it doesn't matter what's in the best interest of the franchise long term. What matters is being fair to Jimmy and praising him for every little thing he does. Like, he threw for 189 passing yards against the Eagles, and he had some clutch QB sneaks. And he's getting praise all over for his QB sneaks. I heard someone call him grown man QB sneaks. What the hell is a grown man QB sneak? What is that? We're really praising him for the quarterback sneaks. Really? That's the bar? Like, yeah, he can't get the ball down the field, but when you get him on 3rd and 1, oh my God. the way he moves the pile is generational. It's generational. It's big boy stuff. Please, can we not talk about him like he's freaking Rudy? Like he's some walk-on that they let play because he, was the water boy for 4 years and it's a good story. He's made like $100 million. He's had ample opportunities to show improvement, and he's the same guy, which is a good guy. But do we really have to like give him a standing ovation for a quarterback sneak? I think that's a little bit much. I think we all need to examine. I don't want to how we talk about Jimmy. Maybe sometimes I'm too hard on him. Maybe sometimes people are a little too babyish of him. Can we just treat him like, his name is number 10? Oh my God, what a scramble for 4 yards. Wow. What a quarterback sneak. This guy, what a story. People were writing him off, and then he goes out there and throws a 4-yard pass. People said he couldn't throw that 4-yard pass anymore, but there he is. There he did it. Come on, man. I mean, he's 2-0. That's great. But we don't have to put him in Canton right now. The Niners have the lowest air yards in the league. Everything is after the catch. So he's playing his position, and he's playing it well. But there's probably 8 to 10 other players on the team right now that are more important. And they're not even quarterbacks. That's all I want to say. Jimmy always deserves a strong golf clap. Can we be excited about Lenore yet? Got burnt once, but was solid. Others against real speed, ready to be a starter. Yeah, he got burned twice. He pushed the guy to bounds once, got lucky. There was like just a sliver of a cleat that hit the sideline. And the fact that the Eagles went at him so often makes me wonder and feel like that's what other teams are going to do too, especially since he got burned. Just something to keep in mind. They got to work on that. Like, for example, when they faced the Cardinals have Rondale Moore. He's faster than Kez Walker. Rondale Moore ran a 4.2. So Lenore's going to be all up in Rondale Moore's face. What if he gets burned like he does daily by Trent Sherfield and Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel? He's got to be careful. There's some speed coming their way. The only reason these games have been close is because of other people's mistakes, and we still blame Jimmy. Ha ha. Okay. I don't see it that way. Here's the way I see it. I'm going to get through it right now. Okay, we got to talk about Trey Lance. I still can't get over the fact that the Niners didn't play Trey Lance in this game. Now, I know they won, but it's like, I'll put it in the way I see it, different terms. The offense scored 17 points. That's terrible. That's sort of like a defense giving up 30, okay? So let's go back to 2019 and say the Niners won a game. Let's say they won week 1 against Tampa, but the defense gave up 30. But they won. But the defense gave up 30. And for whatever reason, Robert Saleh didn't play Nick Bosa in that game. First round pick, number 2 pick in the draft. They didn't trade up for him, but number 2 pick in the draft. Robert Saleh says he's not ready. We just don't want to play Nick Bosa week 1. He's the future for sure. But we're really confident with D Ford and Eric Armstead on the edges right now. We're not going to play Nick Bosa in this game. And they give up 30 points. You'd say Robert Saleh's an idiot. That doesn't make any sense. Your defense didn't play well. You should have tried something else. How could Nick Bosa have hurt a defense that gave up 30 points? He only would have helped. Right? That's what you was. But at quarterback, it makes sense. I just don't understand an offense that's really struggling. Everything is a 3-yard run or a screen. The quarterback, you want to replace next year anyway. The offense is on pace to score 17 points. Why not? Why not give your offense a spark? You would never sit a defensive player when your defense is struggling, especially a guy who was a top pick like that. It wouldn't make any sense. But you sit a quarterback who's not just a quarterback. He's the most dangerous weapon on your offense. Trey Lance is the most dangerous weapon on your offense, and you're not using him. And so what's happening? You can't put teams away. These games are coming down to the end, and these are some of the easier games on your schedule. The Lions are going to finish with like 2 or 3 wins, and the Eagles will finish with like 8 or 9. The Niners should be better than these teams. The Niners should have been able to put these games away. But the way I look at this is Kyle Shanahan is basically attempting, if this is a chess match, Kyle Shanahan's trying to win without using his queen, without moving the queen off the spot. The queen is Trey Lance. It's the most dangerous weapon you have on your board. You're not using it. And it's like, wow, it's really impressive. You won again without using your queen. But at what cost? You lose a lot of players' pieces along the way. The game it grinds down to the very end. The end game is long. By the end, you got 3 pieces left and you won. That's great. But because you couldn't put a Lions team away that was down big at halftime, Jason Verrett got hurt in a fourth quarter where everyone should have been on the bench. Right? Because you could only score 10 points in the second half of the Lions game. Game went down to the wire. Jason Verrett got hurt, gone for the season. And then against the Eagles, once again, that team was doing nothing. They had like 3 points late in the game. They should have been demoralized. They should have been basically thinking about getting back home to Philly. Offense doing nothing. Defense getting hung out to dry. Just let them hang around with this awful offensive effort with no creativity. And what happens? Game goes down to the wire. Elijah Mitchell gets banged up. You got to bring in JaMychal Hasty. He fumbles. You got to bench him. You bring in Trey Sermon. Gets knocked out on a play that may have been a dirty hit. So now 2 running backs get banged up at the end of a game that should have been in hand. Why was the game not in hand? Because this offense has stunk for the last 6 quarters. It came out hot the first 2 quarters of the season against a bad team. That team adjusted. The Eagles did a really good job. And now you're fighting tooth and nail against teams that probably aren't going to the playoffs and losing players because of it. That's bad strategy, bad leadership. You should be trying to put these games away early, demoralize the team, save your players, right? If this is a war game, we used a chess metaphor just now, and Lance is the queen. If this is the war game, Lance is he's the bazooka. He's the bomb. He's the thing that ends it. But no, you don't want to do that. You want to fight a land war and have a lot of casualties. That's what's happening. And you're squeaking out wins. It doesn't have to be this hard. It doesn't have to be this hard. Trey Lance will add an explosive element to the offense with his legs, with his arms. If Kyle Shanahan can baby Jimmy Garoppolo and call all these short passes and work around his limitations, he can do the same for a rookie who's less limited, and he can develop him at the same time. Now, I think with Kyle Shanahan, I think he would agree with a lot of what I'm saying. I think he would agree that Trey Lance is the queen, that he's not using him yet, that he's proud probably that he can win these games without using Lance. And he's probably going to bring him out. I would think he's going to bring him out home opener, prime time. Yeah, that's a great opportunity to look like a genius. Also, I mean, against a defense that's probably not that great, and he can get away with it. But yeah, he should. I mean, I think he would probably say, look, we won. I didn't have to do it. I maintain the element of surprise. I'm going to save this for a game where I really don't. He probably felt like I could beat the Eagles with Jimmy Garoppolo, even scoring 17 points, and we did. I can beat the Packers with Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if I can beat the Seahawks with Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if I can beat the Cardinals with Jimmy Garoppolo. He's lost the last 2 times he faced those 2 teams. So maybe that's when he's going to bring out the Trey Lance package. But along the way, how many players are you going to get injured? Or not you going to get injured. How many players of yours are going to get injured in the fourth quarter of games that you should have put away already? Jason Verrett, Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon. Am I missing anyone? These games should have been over. And if you were playing your best players on offense, they would have been. What you're doing is not using your best weapon on offense. This is what happens. And why are you not using your best weapon on offense? Arrogance, ego. I don't know. You're 2-0. Good for you. That's great. But if you got to start using him, man, you're losing players, and these losses could cause you to lose a game down the line. You're not getting Jason Verrett back. Yeah. So, I mean, what's going on at running back right now? Let's be real clear. Mostert's gone. That's not Kyle Shanahan's fault. Mitchell's banged up. Hasty fumbled. Sermon banged up. Cannon has been on the team for less than a week. They're right back where they were last year. What happened last year? All the running backs got banged up immediately. Mostert was out. Wilson was in and out. Hasty was on the practice squad. Coleman was terrible. McKinnon was the most healthy, durable running back on the team, and he was awful. That's what happened last year. All the running backs got hurt. Now they're in the same position. And a lot of these injuries to running backs came at the end of games that should have been over. That's Kyle Shanahan's stubbornness. I really believe if they just put in Trey Lance and let him do the things that we saw against the Raiders and in training camp, the offense would only be more explosive. It would be better. They would score more points. These games would be easier, and some of these players would still be healthy. All your decisions have consequences, Kyle. If you want to grind out these games that should have been over, this is a very, very violent sport. There's consequences. Let Trey Lance play. You're only holding back his development and making these games more interesting than they need to be. I'm wearing a quality control jacket made by Pierre Laurent, so I have to be right. 7MP says Garoppolo apologized. No, deep down, he's slightly above average, so they overcompensate everything he does. Yep. And it's good that he's slightly above average, but I think what the Niners are, what they said this offseason is, we have higher standards. We want a quarterback who can be a Hall of Famer, and Jimmy's not going to get there. We thought he might. He's not going to get there. He's going to sort of plateau at this good level, and that's what we're seeing. So it seems to me that they should probably find a way. I'm not saying bench him. He's playing too well to get benched, but maybe find a way to start developing the future of the franchise. You've wasted 2 weeks. That's an eighth of the season. He's not developing running the scout team in practice. I'll tell you that. Vince says, what do you think of Kittle saying, yeah, we have a mobile quarterback, it's Jimmy, or something to that effect? That was the most obvious to get Trey, right? Yeah. I really, really think that this trade up to number 3 was unpopular in the locker room. And that the fact that Kyle Shanahan hasn't really endorsed Trey Lance yet, I really think that the feeling, I'm not in the locker room, but I think the feeling in the locker room is that this was a management move. This was management, ownership, giving a vote of no confidence on the 2019 49ers, the team that came close to winning a Super Bowl, the team that felt they got robbed in the Super Bowl, the team that wanted to prove that they were champions last year, the team that's still out to prove that they're champions, the team that carries themselves as champions. When you bring in Trey Lance, what the message from ownership is, you guys lost, the window's over, we're reloading and planning for the future. And a lot of these guys, I think, take that personally. And they see Jimmy Garoppolo as part of that team that went to 2019 and should have won. I think George Kittle feels like it's a slap in the face from ownership. This team is good enough. They got hurt last year. Let them prove it. And so far, they're 2-0. So maybe they're going to prove it. I thought the win over I still think the Eagles are a really, really talented team. That's probably one of the best defenses in the league. And the Niners won. But I think that's what it is. I think it's not so much Trey. It's what Trey symbolizes. I don't think Trey comes in with, I don't know, but I don't think Lance comes in with a big ego. It seems like he keeps his head down and says everything right. It's just the fact that he's here. The fact that the Niners didn't go all in with Jimmy. And now they are. What's weird is like if you really wanted to give Jimmy one more chance to win a Super Bowl, shouldn't you have waited on the quarterback? Shouldn't you have spent a first-round pick on someone who could help Jimmy, like a wide receiver or an offensive lineman or anyone other than a quarterback? I mean, when the Packers drafted Jordan Love at the end of round 1 and didn't give Aaron Rodgers help, everyone called them idiots. But when the Niners trade up to take a quarterback and don't give Jimmy Garoppolo help and then turn around and make Jimmy Garoppolo the starter and don't give the quarterback any playing time, they call him smart. It's weird. It's weird. I have a theory about that. I feel like in other parts of the country, Midwest, East Coast, maybe down south, they're much more of a results-oriented type of people. Like, okay, what's your win-loss record? Out here in the Bay Area especially, I think a lot of people see themselves as a little bit smarter, see themselves that way, and they look at a head coach like Kyle and they're like, well, your average Joe would judge him by his win-loss record. But if you really know football and if you look deep down and you understand the context, you understand that he's great. I think West Coast Bay Area fans love the Kyle Shanahan thing. Like, he's theoretically the best coach in the league. In theory, he's number 1. He doesn't have the results to match it, but anyone could judge a coach by their record. Really enlightened, smart people have to, can appreciate Kyle Shanahan for what he is. I think that's part of what it is. I think Kyle Shanahan, his 31-35 record, wouldn't play as well in Chicago or Indianapolis or Detroit. I don't know if those markets would have as much patience. Be like, no, we understand. Just saying. But maybe the Bay's right for that, because whoever they hired in Detroit is a joke. Dan Campbell. How? He's saving these trade looks for the Packers. Watch. I don't disagree with that. And my only point is that by not bringing out Trey Lance in the first two games and just getting checkbait early, cost you some pieces, really important pieces. You could have had checkmate, Kyle, in like 25 moves in the first two games, but you messed around and you didn't play your queen at all, and you lost your bishop, you lost your castle, lost your rook. You know what I'm saying? You could have just got your queen out there, ended it, put the opponent out of their misery, moved on to it. But no. The offensive roster is not elite. If it was, Kyle wouldn't have to call a genius level game every week just to score 20. I didn't see what he called this week as genius. I mean, I have a hot take. Jimmy Garoppolo performed. Let me say it without stuttering. Jimmy Garoppolo performed better than Kyle Shanahan did against the Eagles. Jimmy Garoppolo performed better than Kyle Shanahan did against the Eagles. That's a fact. Jimmy Garoppolo was efficient. Kyle Shanahan was unimaginative. Now, he probably felt he was limited to only calling screens because of that defense he was facing and the quarterback he has. Well, where's your run game? Why doesn't that work? Oh, they sold out to stop it? Bring in Trey Lance. Change the numbers. Change the equation. Make it work, Kyle. You're supposed to be the best. Didn't make it work. Had no answers in the run game. Jimmy was better than Kyle Shanahan. I have no problem with Jimmy. Jimmy's going out there and doing the best he can. Kyle, to me, has been really underwhelming the last 6 quarters. Great the first 2 quarters against Detroit. Where you been the last 6 quarters, Kyle? What are you doing with your offense? Makes no sense. Really like to see something better against the Packers. I got no problems with Jimmy. Commendable what he's doing. I think people going a little bit overboard with the quarterback sneak praise, but that's not a Jimmy issue. That's a Jimmy fan issue. I don't like Jimmy fans, honestly. They're strange. They're like Tebow fans. I don't get it. The guy hasn't really accomplished anything, but you love him. And you love him more than the team that you cover. That's weird. But that's not Jimmy's fault. I commend Jimmy for playing to the best of his abilities. And I think people need to recognize that that the problem on offense right now is the head coach. He can't decide on a quarterback. He's gotten a bunch of his running backs hurt. He can't close out a game. He has no identity on this offense right now. Kyle, let's give Jimmy some credit. He never gets any credit. Kyle always gets all the credit. Jimmy's outplaying him, performing him. Matt says say the Niners start off 4-0 with Jimmy G, but then started Trey Lance and finished 8-9. Huge issue for Kyle in locker room, missing playoffs. Kyle won't risk it. Agree. But what he could be doing now is still finding time to play Lance here and there. Second half up, 30 points against the Lions? That'd be a good time. And again, you can play Lance 3 or 4 snaps a game, maybe 5. If you let him throw, those are the big plays that'll change the game. He threw one time against the Lions. It was a touchdown. His play action passes are going to be very effective because people are going to bite. No one's going to expect them to come. These are game-winning plays that you're leaving on the sideline because you want to win. You want to grind out wins. I don't get it. You're going to cost people. You're going to get injured, get people injured along the way. End of story. Cap. No need to rush Lance. Jimmy is limited, but he wins and the team has his back. That's important. No, it's not that you need to rush Lance. It's that you need to develop him. He's not getting developed running scout team. He's not getting developed on the sideline. And you are winning with Jimmy, but at what cost? Put these games away. Don't take the Lions down to the end. Don't lose Jason Verrett in the fourth quarter to the Lions. He should have been playing the fourth quarter of the Lions. You had 31 points at halftime. How many plays would you put Trey in for? What type of plays? He didn't do much against Detroit. I would bring him in for you. I mean, it's as simple as this. If the running game isn't working like it was against Philly, you could bring him in just to hand off. Look, we're getting shut down. I don't even want to change anything about my run game. Let's just have Trey go in and hand off. It's window dressing. It's a fake out. They think he's going to do something with the ball. All eyes are on him. When he's on the field, the opposing team is going to be talking about him, looking at him, freaking out about him. Hand off. Get in the shotgun and run a zone read and hand off. What we saw when he did that against the Raiders is it creates a lot more space for the running backs. It freezes the linebackers because they're expecting Lance to carry it. Against the Lions, they made him keep the ball and run right into a defense I was expecting him to run. When he didn't hand off once. I'd like to see what happened. I'd love to know, what are the Niners' average yards per carry when Jimmy hands off as opposed to when Trey hands off? I bet it's more when Trey hands off. You don't have to change the offense, just different people handing off. And then when it's time for play action, Trey can actually throw down the field as opposed to Jimmy. So I think the reason Trey's on the team isn't to run the zone read. It's because he's supposed to be like a Matthew Stafford level play action passer or better, a John Elway level play action passer, someone who could turn his back, take a deep drop, maybe roll left and right, and then fire at 70 yards. He can do that. You don't want that? You're missing that in your offense right now. I'd like to see the play action element of the Trey Lance package because it's going to be undefensible. No one's expecting it. Play action. Trey action. That was good. I like that. Kyle will use Trey offense against Seattle. I think so too. My only point is he's gotten people hurt by not using it already. They should have put these games away. Is Trey Lance less ready than RG3 was his rookie year? No. They had to change their offense completely. What I've seen so far from Kyle is an unwillingness to change his offense. And maybe it's not just him. Maybe it's Kittle. Maybe it's the rest of the offense. They seem very stuck in 2019. They're like the Uncle Rico of Uncle Rico was stuck in 83? Now they're stuck in 2019. Joshua Wyatt says the Super Bowl roster narrative is what's causing this confusion. If this was the Super Bowl roster, Kyle wouldn't be 7-27 without a mid-level quarterback. Thank you. But you can't. What are you going to do? Walk into the locker room and say, hey, George, Trent, Fred, Nick, you guys aren't as good as you think you are. We're going to Trey Lance. Live with it. It's a tough situation they've created, but they created it for themselves. And the only way I think Trey Lance gets a start at this point is if Jimmy Garoppolo crashes and burns. And to his credit, he's not letting that happen right now. He's being very cautious, keeping himself employed. I respect it, man. He's got a lot of money on the line. Smart man. Keep yourself employed. Keep getting that cash. Kyle is way too impatient with these young guys. Yeah. And it's like, if he was over here scoring 30 points against the Eagles, I'd understand it, but you're not. So maybe you should be playing your best players on offense. That's my problem with Kyle. You just had a game where you scored 17 points, and it's demonstrable you're not playing your best players. Whatever's going on with you and Brandon Ayuk, squash it because he's a really good player. You're not playing him enough. And your best player, your most dangerous weapon is Trey Lance. You're not playing him at all. It's your responsibility as the head coach of the 49ers to play your best players. Why didn't Trey Sermon get a carry until the very end? He looked great on that run until he got a forearm to the head. He exploded through that hole. What's up with that? Why not use an actual committee at run back when the guy who's starting is averaging 2.5 yards per carry? You got to use your best players on offense. That's your problem, Kyle. The defense plays their best players. You're over here sending messages or I don't know what the rest. No one can figure out why you do the things you do. But it's definitely important that you play your best players. And eventually, you're going to lose a game because you didn't play your best players. And it's going to be a big deal. You can't give away games in the NFL. It's going to be your fault. It's not going to be Jimmy's fault that Jimmy was Jimmy. It's going to be your fault that you were less than you. Raheem, thank you. Hold on. Christopher, thank you. Raheem, is Kyle intentionally not playing the best people, best calls to make Jimmy look good? Jimmy look bad so we can put Lance in, or maybe look good so to teams because he won with less. I don't understand how Kyle Shanahan thinks anymore, man. I think basically we're assuming, who does he want, Jimmy or Lance? I think it's more likely he wants neither. He's unhappy with Jimmy, and he's also unhappy with Lance. So he's less unhappy with Jimmy right now. So he calls the painful, slow, methodical, plotting offense for Jimmy and doesn't even play Trey Lance. And he probably goes back into the organization and says, well, that's what you gave me. It's the best I can do. Sorry. Remember, he's the guy who describes himself as when he goes house hunting. He's the one who hates every house. He says that about himself. He just doesn't like things that he gets a close look at, in my opinion. He just can't stop looking at the faults. You know how you ever watch Seinfeld and Seinfeld and George are always dating and then they're like getting, breaking up women for the most trivial reasons? That's Kyle. Man hands. Sorry, man hands. I couldn't do it. I really did. I thought I liked it, man hands. Sorry. That's Kyle. He just breaks up with everyone really quickly over the most trivial reasons, in my opinion. Man hands. He's the Jerry Seinfeld of coaches. Grant, let's box 5K to the winner's charity. What? I don't know what that means. Let's box 5K to the winner's charity. Okay. You first. Kyle recycled a total of 15 plays in that Eagles game. It was horrible to watch. Yeah, man. He mailed it in. I don't understand what that was. It was just the same stuff over and over again. If that were another offensive coordinator, if that were Chip Kelly or someone, Jimmy Ray, people be all over that. But it's Kyle. They're like, well, he had his reasons. I'm sure there was nothing else he could have done. If Kyle did that, then that's because there was nothing else he could have done. That's what kills me about the Kyle appreciation. Like, can we call a bad week a bad week? He's had a bad 6 quarters in a row. Lance, Hurts, Jimmy, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson. I do think Lance is better than Hurts. Jimmy better than Mac Jones? Maybe. He's older. Zach Wilson, my God. But I hear you on that one, David. Wes said, why give team extra film on Trey when we didn't need to? Right. That's what Kyle would say. And my counterpoint is, how many players did you get hurt in the fourth quarter of games that should have been over had you just played your best players? There is a price to not playing your best players. It's fighting till the end, players getting hurt. Fine. If you felt that Jason Verrett was expendable and having a really banged up running back room by week 3, just like last year, is fine. Cost of doing business. Hey, God love you. As my dad would say, Gegers unter hate, which means go in good health. The problem is they don't have good health. Devin says, let's say Jimmy got us to the Super Bowl and won. What does that mean for us next year? Is Jimmy 100% gone in 2021 if he won the chip? Just a thought. No, I would think he'd be starting next year. But I just don't see that happening. I mean, I don't. If Jimmy could keep making those throws that he made to Debo week 1 against the Lions, the long throw down the field, he'd be a legit starting quarterback. But he's made that throw like twice in his career. And it was honestly a better catch than the throw. He's so limited. When you go up against better teams that know his tendencies, like the ones in his division, it's going to look bad. I could be wrong. He often looks good against the Rams, but Seattle, Arizona, we'll see. Tri said, did Jimmy Stans forget that Trey ran a pro under center offense in college? He just needs to adjust the NFL speed. Yeah, exactly. And the only way he could do that is by playing. You can't adjust the NFL speed by watching it on the sideline. I'm sorry. Who cares which quarterback starts as long as we're winning? We all know Trey is inevitable. The real question is how much you bench. I'm ratcheting it up to 165. I got 3 sets of 10 at 155 a couple days ago. So I used to be able to do more in college. I could hit 225 in college, but I'm older now and not as consistent. As a Niner fan, it's depressing seeing the rest of the division go for the kill shot first 2 weeks of the season while Kyle has the offense in neutral. That's what I'm saying. Yep. And why is the offense in neutral? Because he's not playing his best players. He's got some beef with Brandon Ayuk. That's weird. He may have some beef with Trey Sermon. That's weird. Those guys should be playing. And Trey Lance too. What is going on with Trey Lance, Trey Sermon, Brandon Ayuk? That's all weird. I don't get it. I can't begin to get it. Makes no sense. Those guys should be playing way more. Those guys are really good. BA ain't part of 2019 unit. The team is in control more than we know. I'm telling you, man, it is all about 2019. If you weren't on that 2019 team, you are an outcast. G.I. Jones says, Kyle's a great play caller, but a terrible head coach, in my opinion. He needs someone to reel him in and keep him in check. Yeah, I would agree. Gary Kubiak could do that. I don't even think his dad could do it, though. I don't know if anyone can keep Kyle Shanahan in check. His ego is as big as Bill Belichick's. And that's a problem. When you have that level of an ego and you haven't won anything yet, I think it's going to be the reason you don't win. It's going to be getting in your way. Big fan all the way from Puerto Rico. Hey, thank you, Christopher. I'm a big fan of you too. Appreciate you. What else do we got? Oh, here we go. Kyle's creativity with his play calling has completely been lost since 2019. Sanders threw a deep ball to Mostert. Where's all that now? I agree. There was no creativity last year, and there was no creativity in this game. There was really no creativity against the Lions. Let's be frank. The Lions just sucked and couldn't stop the Deebo Samuel dig over the middle, which is all the Niners do. It's their only big play. And they're like, oh, that's how you use Deebo? I had no idea. We've never watched. We actually didn't do our homework this week. Sorry. We forgot to watch the tape. Yeah. Where has the creativity been since 2019? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he got paid and lost his muse, which was the desire for money. I don't know. ZS says, is keeping Lance on the bench about holding Jimmy's trade value? Tua down, Wentz down, et cetera, et cetera. Does it seem to you, like the Niners are getting ready to trade Jimmy? Doesn't it seem like the Niners are closer to giving Jimmy a 10-year extension than trading him? What is going on? I mean, I understand that it's like Jimmy's year and Trey's not ready, but how is Trey ever going to be ready if this is what they do? How do you ever make the transition if he never gets to play? If this is what the rest of the year is going to be like and he just sits on the bench and they get to next year and they're like, okay, Trey, now it's your turn. Well, I haven't played in 2 years. I'm worse now than I was last year. I don't get it. It seems to me that they should just, get rid of Trey at this point. Maybe they should trade Trey just to a team that wants him and give Jimmy Garoppolo the extension that apparently they want to give him. If I were Trey Lance privately, I'd want to trade. This is ridiculous. You brought me into some organization that doesn't want me and is trying to turn back the clock to pre-COVID times. Good luck. Why am I here? I thought you wanted me. Thought you needed me. Let me go somewhere else where I'm wanted and I can play. Ridiculous. Oh, you like Jimmy? Okay, can I go now? It's like starting to date someone and they decide they want to get back together with their ex. It's like, okay, cool. Can I leave? Why do I have to be involved in this? Get back together with your ex. Make that terrible decision. Grant, can I ask why for 2 weeks you praised the Eagles defense and expect us to pull a 55 burger against them? I think we did a good job. I think they could have done better had they played their best players. 17 points, came down to the end. Guys got hurt. That's all I'm saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Suzanne. Thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate it. Okay, guys, that's the show. That is the show. I will be back in 3 hours with Vish. Shanahan talks in 2 hours. We'll find out about some injuries and stuff. Maybe why I didn't play Trey Lance. I'll be back. See you then. Take care.